We're joined now by the UKIP MEP William Dartmouth, who's part of our discussion. There he is down in...
Good day.
Yes, so it looks like a lovely day down in Bournemouth. I can see you there. So stick with us. Let me...
It's a beautiful day. You ought to be here.
They don't let me out very often these days, I'm afraid. Let me ask you this. Is it not, Sean Simon, going to take a long time? The British government is just at the foothills of what its negotiating position is going to be. We still have no idea. And the Europeans may actually even be further behind. That they have no idea what their negotiating position will be.
I've never come across anything in I'm 47, I've never seen anything in which everybody has got so little idea still now. What is it, getting on for 3 months since the referendum? I don't think the British government has got the slightest idea what it's doing. Neither the Prime Minister nor any of the Secretaries of State has said anything coherent about Brexit at all. And I don't think it's any different at all in the Commission or the other Member States. Everybody I talk to, it's complete chaos and blankness and confusion. It's really honestly made me wonder what it used to be like in the war, and I've concluded that there was probably a much greater sense of purpose and understanding what we were doing actually in wartime than this Brexit.
William Dartmouth, are you concerned about the lack of clarity, and how long can... I mean, it's like a phony war situation at the moment, isn't it? How long can this continue?
Well, the principal reason that there's a lack of clarity is because the Cameron-Osborne government totally irresponsibly made absolutely no preparations at all. Now, I've written extensively about this, and hopefully one day I'll get a little bit of coverage on the BBC for actually what I've actually written. But I mean, what is necessary is that there should be a supremacy of English law, controlling our borders, and a return of fishing, and no contributions to the European Union budget as an absolute minimum. Otherwise, it isn't really a proper Brexit at all, which is what people voted for.
So is that English law going to be supreme in Scotland as well?
Well, I think that we can have an interesting discussion about the difference between Scots and English law, but right. I think that the Scots would want their law to prevail over right. European law.
So you
if
may
they
have
think
to go,
about it
you may have to go back and rewrite that bit.
Nicola Sturgeon hasn't.
You may have to go back and rewrite that bit of your paper then before we talk about it any further to get it right. At the moment, we seem to be in a situation where, particularly on the European side, they're kind of staking out not a bargaining position, but a bargaining attitude. So Monsieur Barnier, well-known anti-Brit, is appointed. Mr. Verhofstadt, who loves to tangle with the Brits as well, and Mr. Juncker too. But I would suggest that all of this is pretty meaningless, because it's the Council of Ministers that is tasked with being in charge of the negotiations, and above all, that means Mr. Tusk and Angela Merkel.
I think that's a fair point to make, Andrew. And I think what is particularly ridiculous about all of this is, you know, the voters have spoken. And whether other member states, other countries like it or not, that's the decision that was taken by the UK. I do not believe it is in the interests of the other member states to end up having a virtual civil war with the UK, determining what the outcome should be in the negotiations. I do feel slightly reassured in terms with Donald Tusk and their meeting today, because I do think genuinely the other member states, albeit with different pressures, want to try and get some decent conclusions. But when you look at the message, and if we put Jean-Claude Juncker at one side, and as you said, Michel Barnier, to be the negotiator from sort of the Commission's side, and Guy Verhofstadt, who actively can't stand us, and can't stand us even less since actually our political group, the British Conservative political group, actually wiped them out in the last European election. So Guy Verhofstadt, if I may say, it's like putting an arsonist in charge of a firework factory. Okay, and if we really want to be grown up on this, we need a good, sensible, constructive debate from all parties. There's a lot riding on this for our partners too.
I understand that. Let me go back to William Dartmouth in Bournemouth. Is there not a danger, from your point of view? At the moment, there is clearly a vacuum. There's a vacuum on the British side, there's a vacuum on the European side as well. But let's stick to the British side. The longer you allow a vacuum to persist, isn't there a danger that forces start to fill it over which you have no control and the government has no control, and that people begin to get disillusioned both and wonder, is it really going to happen or isn't it going to happen? How long can we go on like this?
Well, that's actually a very perceptive question. Well, first of all, the appointment of Barnier and Verhofstadt is an attempt by the Commission and the European Parliament to try and fill in that vacuum, and it's not very helpful at all. It's just posturing for a position which doesn't really belong in a serious way. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that because no preparations were made, it is in one sense reasonable that a little bit of time is taken, but it shouldn't really be for very much longer. And I must make the point that we should commit to the UK leaving the single market, because so long as we stay in the single market, the 85% or more of the British economy, which doesn't export to the EU countries, is nonetheless bound by the whole panoply of EU regulation.
All right,
and we would also probably have to concede
we'll leave it there.
Free movement. And I think that's very important that that's clearly understood.
All right, I understand, and you've made it clear. No doubt that will be part of the debate if and when the government finally tells us roughly what its bargaining position is going to be and these talks get underway. William Dartmouth and Bournemouth, the UKIP conference there. Thank you for joining us. Now.